Good morning. If we can get everybody in their seats, find a seat, close your eyes. Imagine that it's 80 degrees. There's a tropical wind blowing. You're in Hawaii, maybe Maui. You can hear the ocean. The whales are breaching. Welcome everybody to Visalia. Do we have anybody new for the first time? I know we have Parker is new. Chef Parker is here. You'll probably get to see him later. But he's joined us. He made some wonderful goodies apparently that will be available after service for a small fee. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm going to turn everything over to Reverend Nan.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for that introduction, Sheila, and the great welcome. And now let's do a little opening prayer for our service. We'll do a little invocation and begin this with spirit in the mix of everything. So I just invite each of us to, right where we are, take a breath and be in the presence of the divine. I know that infinite loving spirit is moving in, through, and around all creation. It is right where I am. It is right where you are, wherever you may be. And as we begin this time together, I give thanks that we can meet the way that we do, virtually, in person, and in freedom to speak about these wonderful principles and practices that we call the philosophy, the faith, and the way of life of religious science or science of mind. I give great thanks. I bless this time together. I call it good and very, very good. And together we may affirm it by saying, and so it is. And now it's time for our music with our great band. So Chase and Joe and Phil, take it away.
Morning, everybody. You might notice Hope was not able to be here, so we thank the band for filling in with wonderful music, and you're going to hear the two Donnas help you with the with this sing-along song today. So let's talk about announcements. And our first announcement is there's a board meeting today, third Sunday board meeting. Everybody's welcome. You can come in on Zoom. You can see the link is on our homepage, or you can just come and stay. It's at 12 today. We're going into the cooler side of the building in the conference room, so it will be okay for me at least. And the next announcement is one more time I'm going to announce this, and then we're going to assume you all know that we're doing this Science of Mind chat every Sunday morning from 9:45 to 10:15. Got it right? And it's wonderful. It's in the cool side of the building. We get actually one-on-ones with Reverend Nan. We always just starts with a principle and we talk about it. We go home and we try to live that principle for the week and then come back and share on how we've done. So again, we had 12 or 13 people again there this morning. So people are enjoying it, and it's really a nice Sunday school kind of thing. So we invite you all to come. You can come in on Zoom, and you can see there's a Zoom link on our website as well. Okay, so this is, we know we're having a baby contest, and our babies all turned out to be dogs. Well, then I saw this in the paper. This town up in Northern California is having an honorary mayor, and they're doing the same thing we are. The animal or person who wins, who brings in the most money for nonprofits, will be the honorary mayor. And this donkey is one of the people running. So we only have dogs, but I want you to know that what we're doing, it makes a lot of sense. We're just doing what other people do. So here's what was going on for this. So update, Hoku is way in first place. And Reverend Nan has done it just by reaching out to her Facebook friends and saying, how would you like to get Hoku to nominated? So we're running, they're all, I think, all getting some money. We have a couple of things happening today, but these are our contestants, our 6 wonderful animals that are running to be the mascot for the year. In July and June, we're doing fundraisers, and whichever animal brings in the most money will get the honor. So the next slide shows what we're going to be doing today. Well, I'm announcing for next week. So Lynn's Gabby is going to be coming in. He's not here today, right? She's coming in next week, and she's going to do her, is it agility? Obedience training. She's well trained, and so she's going to go through her paces for donations. What? Oh, sorry. On the 30th, she's going to do this. Yes. Oh, she's going to do it next Sunday? Okay, sorry, everybody. She's going to do it next Sunday. 23rd. Thank you. Florence always keeps me on time. That's good. So next Sunday, she will be here in the center, and right after service, she'll be doing her paces, and however much you like her and think she's good, you donate to her. So this will be fun. The other thing that's happening, and this one is on the 30th, is Gigi's mom, who's Gwen, is going to make jambalaya. And so there's a sign-up sheet in the back if you would like to buy a bowl on the 30th, $10 a bowl, and that will go to Gigi, who is showing right there too. So there's fun things going on, and now I want to bring up Parker. So Maria's going to bring up Parker because Maria is doing a fundraiser today, and while she's coming up, Carol made lemonade for Hoku. So, and we'll need lemonade today after service, so you can buy a little glass of lemonade, and that money will go to Hoku. Come up here. Let's go to the camera so everybody can see Parker. Chef Parker. Let's go to the Oh, and Parker does have a chef's hat on. when she came in, I said, it's too hot to have clothes on, but I didn't realize what she was doing. So you are selling, oh, there's even buttons. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Chef Parker. And Chef Parker is selling empanadas, 3 different kinds. So that.
Beef, chicken, and spinach with cheese.
So that money will all go to Parker. So we're doing great. We're really moving along, and this is so much fun. We're doing things that are fun for us, and we're raising money. So I think that's great. We got one more slide to show. The next one is, I want to remind you again that there are flyers for this event on the back table also, and it's this thing they're doing, that the home office is doing, this virtual gathering on I can't remember the date, September 20th and 9th and 30th, and there's a little cost to do it, but there's going to be talking, singing, and one-on-ones. So they're going to break out, I guess, in groups. So if that's something that interests you, pick up the flyer in the back, and it tells you gives you that long link, and you can get in on it and sign up. And Reverend Nan is going to do the last slide.
I had to make sure my sound was on here. Thanks so much for those announcements, Donna. And I do want to thank Chase and Joe and Phil for the beautiful music that we're enjoying this morning. Kevin's on vacation, and Hope had a sudden change in plans and just couldn't be here. So big thanks to those marvelous musicians for coming together and making it all work. And especially to the Donna for leading the song this afternoon, or after this, the congregational. So, we've got some good stuff going on here, and I'm going to talk about this Science of Mind class that's starting, the Essential Earnest Tomes. But first, I want to tell you about Reverend Donna Baranier. Now, Reverend Donna is going to be covering my Sundays off, and I'm going to be off next Sunday, the 23rd, and then again on the 30th. And she's going to be facilitating the Science of Mind chat right before service, like I'm doing. She's going to be presiding online as I do for the service, and she's going to be delivering the message. Everything should be pretty seamless, but you get a great change in everything with a wonderful minister. So I know that you're going to enjoy it. She's a staff minister at Huntington Beach Center for Spiritual Living. And some of you may remember Reverend Patty Mercado, who came to our installation last year. She and her husband, Fred, bought a painting from the gallery to take home. And she's Donna's senior minister. Now, Reverend Donna is close enough from where she lives to come up to Visalia from time to time when she substitutes for me on Sunday. And at some point, she's also going to fit in a workshop or two while she visits. And she is going to be teaching this online class, Essential Earnest Homes, that's going to be starting on August 1st. It's a Zoom class in the evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday nights. It is a 10-week course. And I do hope that everyone with a deeper interest in our philosophy and Dr. Holmes will consider taking it. We reduced the cost to $10 a week for the classes and $45 for the certificate fee. So yeah, that's $145. And there is a $20 fee for the materials if you request a workbook to be printed at the center. We do have scholarship money available, so contact me if you're interested in that opportunity. The book, the Essential Earnest Homes, is required, and you can find it online at Amazon or other vendors. It's not included in the price of the class, but you can get one in plenty of time for the class. Now, you can contact Janice or I with any questions that you might have. And there are flyers that Donna very kindly made for us, and they're out there so you could pick them up and take a look at them. It's really a wonderful course about Ernest Holmes and the philosophy and how he came into everything that he put together. It's an amazing course. And Reverend Jesse Jennings, who you may know or recognize from the back of the Science of Mind magazine, actually is the I guess he didn't write the book, The Essentials Ernest Holmes, but he put it all together and put in interesting things in it. So it was a compilation of his information and other details about about Dr. Ernest Holmes. It's a great class. It is foundational. It is part of the prereqs for practitioners, and it'll be available to you soon. So now it's time for our inclusivity quote. And today's quote was selected by Carol Greening. Carol is one of our longtime inclusivity and diversity team members. And, you know, each week we get together on Mondays on Zoom at 1 o'clock Pacific time to discuss current events in diversity and focus on inclusivity in our faith, in our philosophy and faith, just as we teach it. And this is a beautiful quote today from Harriet Tubman. It speaks to the infinite possibilities in all humanity. She writes, "Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." And now, I'd like to turn this over to Janice Lehman, our licensed practitioner, for our affirmation and opening treatment. Janice, it's all yours. And
Okay.
after that, there's going to be the congregational music and everybody can sing along.
No, I don't have to. They're good at pushing the button. I don't have to do anything. I like that. Okay, we have our affirmation for the week. I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. So let's say that together. I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. And I know as we had our SOM talk this morning, a couple of people mentioned that waking up to the truth may require a little effort on our part. We don't always just bound out of bed thinking, wow, this is wonderful. We have to train our minds to remember that this is truly the truth, even though we may not feel like it at the moment. And I want to read something out of our Science of Mind magazine because I think it's very pertinent to what's going on in the world today. And I know I've heard this from many of you, and I think it's important that we always think about this. I think there needs to be a change of consciousness with the news to try to seek a higher ground. Why can't it be more representative of the way the world really is? And that's by Oprah Winfrey. And I think that is such an important thing to remember because it is so easy to just go, but we know that is not the truth. So with that, I would like to go into prayer. So as we are gathered here today, certainly warm, but alive and growing in consciousness, absolutely making the best of whatever comes our way, because we know that spirit is our truth and that there is something that's happening that is moving us toward greater and greater good, even though we may not always be able to see that. And I know that for me, that as I think about that, as I go within and I realize what a wonderful world this is, that we are each filled with those fabulous qualities of spirit: intelligence, joy, love, the ability to choose, the ability to co-create with spirit a life that works for us, and in doing that, we are able to create a life that works for everyone. And I know that what is true for myself is true for every human being on the planet. And I know that today that we receive a message that we need to hear that helps move us and our planet further to truly create a world that works for all. So, so grateful to know this truth about each of us. Knowing that we are powerful and that Spirit is always with them, with each of us. I release my word knowing that it has already manifested, and we say together, and so it is. And now we have a song that I know that Donna would really appreciate you singing with them, not that they aren't lovely by themselves.
Yes, this is a song that we haven't sung for a long time, but I think you'll get it. There's 4 verses, so you'll definitely have it by the 3rd or 4th verse. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel love inside, it's easy to love you too. Behind your fears, your rage and tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love, okay, my fault. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. And I love myself just the way I am.
That was wonderful. Thank you both so much. That's a great song, you know, to just love yourself the way you are and know that you can always be something, whatever you would like to be, just by changing your thoughts and being in the presence of the divine. Well, good morning. I'm Reverend Nan, and I'm the Senior Virtual Minister here at CSLV. And wherever you may be on your spiritual path, you are always welcome here. You know, one of the wonderful things about our philosophy is that we don't require you to give up any spiritual or religious beliefs and practices that you might find valuable in your life. Rather, we offer blended perspectives and ancient wisdom from all sacred teachings that promote greater understanding of spiritual principles and living life more fully. Science of mind is a philosophy of faith, and as we learn more, it becomes a way of life. And we're going to return to talk about that in just a little while. This month, we are considering our global theme of speaking truth to circumstance. Now, this is kind of a remake of the old phrase, speaking truth to power. A spirit is the only power. What people really mean when they use this phrase is speaking to control or to circumstances. Circumstances are never spiritual truth. Circumstances and conditions are based in human thought and action, not the original perfection of spirit, or whatever we might like to call that creative energy. God, the universe, Great Spirit, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, etc. Whatever you like to call it. I had a really good friend who always called it Bob. Could do whatever. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, writes in the Science of Mind text on page 53.3, a practitioner of this science should not be confused over any given form, but should know that any form which is not of the original harmony is subject to change. Now you see it, now you don't, because you have the power to change it. Many folks in this teaching will think Dr. Holmes was referring to our licensed practitioners. Now, those are a laity ministry, ministers, practitioners, licensed, each of whom has spent 4 to 7 years engaging in deep consciousness studies to prepare themselves to spiritually support others. Well, the reality is that any of us who live science of mind, spiritual principles, and practices are practitioners of our philosophy also. In fact, Joel Goldsmith wrote a book, Practicing the Presence, in which he described our greatest purpose in life is to be practicing all the spiritual qualities of spirit which are inherent in us. We simply forget where we came from, and when we begin to practice the presence or become aware of and develop our spiritual qualities, we remember who we really are. Now, some folks may misconstrue our philosophy and faith as the singular teaching of a fellow who lived in the early 1900s and then departed the planet in 1960 when he made his transition. Now, during that time, he wrote numerous books about living a better way of life. The reality is that Dr. Holmes was a student of all sacred scripture. He was a synthesizer of sacred texts and ancient wisdom teachings. From everything he absorbed, he recognized consistent golden threads, as he called them, that ran through all religious and spiritual belief systems. From those, he distilled the information into a scientific study of the infinite intelligence, or what he simply called mind, from which all creation came to be made in physical form. Now that mind, because we're created from it, exists in all of us. We're individuated forms of that one infinite source. And that mind is there for us to use creatively also. And we can change our experiences by changing our thoughts and beliefs, by being aware that we are always creating with and from our mind, our thoughts, even when we might not be consciously aware that we're doing it. Our form of affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, is based in the simple understanding that there's one power in the universe and we can all use it for good. We create through our thoughts, and we're always free to have a new idea or thought and change our life by changing our thoughts and beliefs. And beliefs are just thoughts we keep thinking. We do this by engaging with the infinite mind, which is our mind individuated, in such a way that we use our spiritual principles and practices to reframe our situations or conditions. So when Dr. Holmes said we shouldn't be confused over any given form, but know that any form not of the original harmony or that original source creative power is subject to change, he declared our ability to use that one power for good in our lives. Here's the tricky part. You know, there's always a little tricky part for us humans. We live in a physical world that seems so very, very solid and unchangeable. We look at things through our human lenses and know only human conditions or what is physically real in our lives and the world around us. And the spell of illusion can make us a little crazy, I'll tell you. That's why my message title today is Now You See It, Now You Don't. We may see evidence of human action, just as Janice mentioned in the reading that she did from Science of Mind about the news, And why don't they do something a little more uplifting? What we see is not the spiritual reality of who and what we are as individuals or collectively. When we choose to think a new thought, change our minds, release old beliefs, we don't see those things the same way. And there's so many ways that we can forget that. We may have been misinformed by our culture, our families, our religious teachings, our educational processes, or so many other sources that have created mistrust in ourselves, lack of self-esteem, or beliefs that we are separated and isolated from that infinite love from which we originated. Yet in our philosophy, as we remember our 10 spiritual principles, oneness, love, creation, spiritual beings, spiritual laws, freedom, and such, we can awaken from the craziness and seeming hopelessness. Practices such as meditation, spiritual mind treatment, and just simple self-awareness, and especially working with a licensed practitioner or a minister with those thoughts and beliefs that we hold a little tighter than others, that we have trouble letting go of, all of that can help us stay centered as we deal with life. You know, without a strong spiritual practice, we can get caught up in the latest cause for alarm and calls to extreme action. And there are always those news stories that Janice mentioned from Oprah Winfrey that are blaring outrage at us. When we take the time to connect with the divine spark within each of us, to stand in the truth of our spiritual nature, we see past the frenzy and illusions to the essence of a situation. Then we're able to create effective solutions. Then we're able to apply the creative process in life-enhancing ways. When we remember that we live in a beneficial universe and we are not separated or isolated from our source, whatever name we may choose to call it, that we are one with it and eternally inseparable, we can remember that we're always fully supported by it. We can begin to look past the dreadful things we see and begin to look through our spiritual eyes. And we can begin to see individuals just like us who live in fear, continue to believe they are isolated and separated, and continue the collective behaviors of violence, war, hate, anger, and prejudice that stem from the false belief of separation from eternal love within each of us that is not true. What everyone is looking for is that sense of belonging to a greater good, as Emma Curtis Hopkins mentioned. Now, Emma was way ahead of her time. She was a mystic and a teacher of New Thought teachers back in the early 1900s. And we may ask ourselves, what on earth is the benefit of looking at all this old information today? Well, we might ask the same question about what is the benefit of looking at biblical scripture or sacred scripture from the Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita or from the Quran or native indigenous teachings. Here's the benefit. Are you ready? Ancient wisdom is still relevant today. Out of ancient wisdom comes the understanding that there is only one power. We can understand that freedom is the birthright of all peoples. We can understand that we are created from the love of spirit, that we are love, and that it is absolutely possible to create a better world for ourselves and others through recognizing the divine essence in everyone that's the same that's in us. We can begin to feel and know that we are loved, valued, and treasured by that one creative presence beyond all human measurements. We can begin to use our inner wisdom and understanding of the creative process to bring growth and joy to our lives by making loving, life-affirming choices as we consciously co-create. Eric Butterworth reminds us in his book, The Creative Life, the universe that creates a watermelon from a teeny tiny seed and guides the birds across the uncharted sky is just as focused on you. The same universal process is your creative genius. We can begin to understand and use the power of love in new ways to reveal wholeness in ourselves and others. You know, there's a a great quote by Nadia Bolz-Weber from her book Shameless. It's a biblical scripture about which she speaks. And if the name Jesus is disturbing, this is a wonderful opportunity to release that old feeling and see a refreshing perspective. It's so in alignment with our principle of oneness and wholeness. And she writes, and I just love this, I like to think that when Jesus sent the disciples to cast out demons in his name, and we don't believe in demons, but when he sent disciples to cast out demons in his name, he intended for them to look with so much love upon those who had become fractured that their neglected pieces returned to the center of their being. That was his disciples' work, she says. That he intended that the parts that were deemed unlovable by somebody or some institution, the parts abused by those who were supposed to love and protect them, could, in the gaze of such love, reassemble. You know, that's a beautiful, beautiful statement of wholeness. In the gaze of such love, could reassemble. What a beautiful idea. And you know, I'd like to take a moment right now for each of us to try just a little experiment with that idea. So if you're willing and you're comfortable, just close your eyes or take a soft focus on something in the room, wherever you may be, whether you're in the sanctuary or you're at home or in a hotel room somewhere, perhaps. And as you do that, just take a breath and let that breath revitalize your body and being as you breathe. You know, that breath is so important to each of us. In the Eastern teachings, it's called prana, and it's the breath of life, spirit itself that we breathe in around us. So now, as you're sitting and relaxing there, I just invite you to bring to mind a time that you felt great love, a time that you felt yourself being reassembled by that love, surrounded, comforted, uplifted by that loving presence. Just remember that feeling and just be in it. You know, it might have been a family member, a friend, the innocence of a child reaching out to you with a smile, someone that you perhaps didn't even know who was kind to you and you didn't expect it. Whatever it was, just call that up right now and be with it for a moment. That wonderful love. Now sitting there and feeling so full of that love, so very full. Let's just take a moment to switch to a time when you felt unloved in some way. You're surrounded by love right now, so you can switch to that moment when you might have felt unloved in some way. And just for a moment, let that unloved feeling be with you. As you breathe out, release that feeling. And now, as you breathe in, return to that feeling of incredible love that you remembered just a moment ago. And be with that. Now, remember that you are and always have been loved, that you are love. The power and feeling of that love is always there within you. It's yours to align with and choose to spend time with. And now, with that love shining through you, just take another breath and return to this time and space easily, effortlessly, and comfortably. And as you're in this time and space now, as you look around the room, Look for all the love that's shining through everyone, wherever you may be. Y'all just flipped on your love switches, and you can do that anytime. It's nice, huh? Flipping on that love switch. What we did just right now was wake up to the truth of spirit that we are, as we affirmed it earlier. The way we see ourselves through eyes of love, and the way we walk through the world looking through eyes of love, is living the truth of who we are. Not just waking up to it, living it is what our lives are all about. So, as I close this message, what I'd like to share is this last thought from Dr. Holmes. It always reminds me how simple our philosophy is and how unattached Dr. Holmes was to his voluminous writings that are so precious and so filled with wisdom. In 1958, he ended a talk by saying, "If I pass on tonight, they can take everything I have ever written and toss it in the ashes. It's going to be thrown away someday anyway. But two things will remain. There is a presence and there is a power in the universe. Learn to court the presence by not only seeing good in everything and everybody, but by feeling good all the time. Feel the presence in the sacred place of your consciousness, and then use the power. Your thoughts will change the condition of your life." Our power is the love we are. Our power is the love that we are. So I invite each of us this week to practice feeling the presence in the sacredness of our consciousness. Then feeling that presence. And then use our power of love. Feel it, see it, be it, and live it. Because, as I always say, love prevails. And so it is. And now, let's just have a little prayer about love and the truth of your being and my being and our being. The truth of all beings. So as we spend just one more moment in the presence of the divine together in unity and harmony, unified in that warp and weft of the tapestry of the infinite love of the universe, I do bring to mind that one infinite loving presence. I do recognize it in every being. And I recognize each person waking up to the truth of spirit that they are. I see this field of light as every light comes on across all humanity, just as we watch lights come on at dusk. Only this time the lights come on in the daytime, all around the clock. And the world is illuminated, the universe is illuminated by the light of the one that exists in all and through creation. I know that light is all there is. And I declare it to be so for everyone. And it's with gratitude that I speak this word, the power of love. It prevails. I release it, and so it is. There we go. Everything's okay. And now, get some more music. Oh, that was just incredibly beautiful music. Thanks to you guys for filling this in and making it be so very beautiful. You're so appreciated. And now it's time for our conscious giving affirmation. And I did get the little fur ball out of my throat there. Sorry about that. Now, as we have our conscious giving for affirmation up on the slides, you can take a look at it, take your gift, and take it to your heart, and let's repeat this together. I see clearly all the abundance that is mine to share with love. I see clearly all the abundance that is mine to share with love. I know if the ushers will just begin to receive the gifts. I just want to say that on that slide that you see, if you're at home in virtual community, you can send your donation to the center, Center for Spiritual Living, Visalia, 117 South Locust Street, Visalia, California, 93291. Or you can go on our website, cslvisalia.org, and be able to just make your contribution online. It's pretty easy. We make it really easy for you to see it right there on the front page. And so as the gifts are collected, I just want to give thanks. I want to be so grateful for everyone who keeps this center going, who has contributed so generously of time and talent, and very definitely of treasure. And it's what keeps us going. You know, it brings the band, brings me to you every week, and it keeps our classes going, keeps the lights on, as you will, keeps everything, all of the activities happening, keeps our little critter contest going. And so I can't tell if yes, let's see. There we go. I believe that our host Sheila has the gifts now, so I'd just like to bless them now and give great thanks. Great thanks for the generosity of spirit, because I know that it's the love of pure spirit that comes through each and every person that blesses the center with these gifts. I know that they do good work here at the center, good work in our community, and good work in the world. And I know that every gift must be returned 100-fold or more to the giver through the reciprocal nature of the universe that is the abundant flow of all good. And so I bless them, I call them good, and with great gratitude I let this be, and so it is. And now it is time for the peace song. So we'll get those fellas to play one more time for us here. And if you want to circle up down there, you know how that works. And the words will be up on the screen so that everybody in the sanctuary and at home can join in and sing. You know, it's a wonderful affirmation, that peace song. Yes, there is peace on earth. Mm-hmm. And that last song that they did was Peace Like a River. So you can take a look at that on YouTube. All right. When everybody's up and around, the fellows will be playing the music. There you go. The fellows will be playing the music. There you go. Ah, that was beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And now it's time for the thing that we do at the very end of our service. So if you're ready, you can join me and repeat after me or with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Now, life is in my mind, and life is in my body, and it's in the body of my affairs. I think it, and oh, how I feel it. And I love it. Just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Together we can say, thank you, life. Have a wonderful couple of weeks, everybody. I will see you in the beginning of August.